Captain America New World Order. Oh, wait, sorry. They went back and changed the title. Captain America Brave New World, featuring Seth Rollins. Oh, that's right. They cut him out of the movie and replaced him with an elderly Giancarlo Esposito who looks like he can't even stand up, and he was absolutely terrible in this film.
Yeah.
Yes, and it also features a comic accurate leader from the Hulk. Oh, wait. They went back and completely reshot all the scenes with a worse non-comic accurate design, but they didn't do it in time, so all the merch coming out is for the previous design of the character. So if you are one of the 5 people who did like the redesign, you can't even get any merch from it. Yes, Captain America, Brave New World. It's about Sam Wilson, who took up the mantle of Captain America, which was told in a very disappointing Disney Plus show, which wasn't very good. I was real excited for Sam Wilson to become Captain America. I liked him as the Falcon. In the MCU, it made the most sense that he would be Captain America. People kept saying it should be the Winter Soldier, and I'm like, well, he was a brainwashed, like, Hydra asset. Like, they're still fixing his brain.
If someone sneezes the wrong way, he's going to suddenly start assassinating people.
I don't think the American people would trust him enough to be Captain America. Apparently, they trust him enough to vote for him in Congress. That was stupid. Anyway, so he's still struggling with the Captain America mantle, being taken seriously as Captain America. There's a new president. It's Thunderbolt Ross, but it is obviously not William Hurt because William Hurt died. So they replaced him with Harrison Ford to get butts in the seats. They clearly did not see how that worked out for Indiana Jones 5, or else they would have completely just gotten a cheaper actor. I feel like they should have got Sam Elliott. He's a great actor. He's age appropriate, and he played the character in a different version of the Hulk, but he would have been a way better pick, I think. Yeah, but don't worry, Captain America, he has a team with him, Latino Falcon. Although in the comics, this Falcon merges with Red Wing's DNA, so he's a Birdman. But Red Wing in this universe is a robot, so they couldn't do that. So now he's just Latino Falcon. He's a Latino guy with the Falcon suit. And we also have Israeli Black Widow. Gil, I noticed the blue color in the background there and the white shirt. You're definitely feeling this character.
That's my subtle.
Yeah.
Go on. Yeah.
Yes. Sabra. Even though she doesn't use that name and she doesn't have her powers, and she literally has nothing to do with her comic book character other than one mention that she's Israeli. And she's just a Lady Black Widow. And I had a bunch of jokes about how she's very tiny, but then I found out it was linked to like kidney cancer she had that stunted her growth. And then I felt bad about all those jokes and I threw them all away. Yes. Oh, she does have a superhero suit that she wears for one scene, and she has a jacket on top of it. So I don't even know why they bothered giving it to her. And we get the return of whatever that thing was called in the Eternals, baby. Real quick, go down the line. Gil, who's your favorite Eternal?
Fast Boy.
Joey C., who's your favorite Eternal?
Definitely Fast Boy.
Crystal, I know you love the Eternals. What's your favorite?
Fast Boy.
Fast Boy.
That's it. We learned that this thing that was turned into a weird metal at the end of Eternals got turned into adamantium, the thing Wolverine's made out of. And they probably wrote this at a time where they were like, yes, this will get people excited for the new Wolverine. But then they just made a different Wolverine movie with Hugh Jackman, so no one really cares anymore. Yes, and the president turns into the Red Hulk. The bad guy has manipulated things. He's brainwashing people to get back at the president. And at the end, it's revealed that he is the Red Hulk. And that is a surprise unless you saw the poster or that poster or this poster or that poster. It's definitely a surprise that the movie is building up towards, even though it spoils it every chance it can get. Yes, this movie was plagued with a bunch of production issues, and it's been rewritten. It's been a whole mess. It kind of like really encapsulates the MCU at the moment. They just don't know what they're doing, and they can't make up their mind. Gil, what did you think of Captain America: Brave New World?
I don't know where to start because you can dissect the movie and what's wrong with it, but I feel like everybody already knows. Nobody's sitting there saying like, "Is this a good movie? Can they help me understand if it's good or not and why?" I feel like at this point, I've been enjoying the MCU on a meta level of just I'm curious, like as a company, what decisions are they going to make, and that's kind of the fun. It's like fantasy football, and I feel like right now we're at a weird point where Kevin Feige announced like a year ago, we're going to try a new strategy. We're going to try making good movies from now on. But the problem is we've already made a bunch of terrible movies and TV shows and we haven't released them yet. So there's a few different strategies. Echo was like, let's rip the Band-Aid off, release all the movies at once, and put Marvel's spotlight at the beginning. People will get confused. They're going to think it's a Sony movie or something. It won't be associated with us.
So they try to make it like it was its own thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
But now this movie, they took like a middle of the road approach where they're like, I feel like they should have gone the WB David Zaslav route because I appreciate what he's doing where he's like, we're not going to release Batgirl. It's a terrible movie. Just don't release it. And I feel like that's what they should have done with this one. Instead, they sunk a ton of money into it to try and reshoot the movie. And they were afraid to offend anybody. So they took this out. And they were afraid to offend anybody on that side. So they took this out. And they like gutted the movie until there was nothing left. And the thing is, you don't need to make a political statement with your movie. You can also just tell like a good story where characters have an arc. But they didn't do that. I remember years ago, a friend of mine complained that the MCU, these movies aren't movies. They're like MCU episode 15. And I was like, that's not necessarily a problem. Like, it's just a different approach to movies where they're more of a series.
Which is what they're doing like what comics do. But
exactly. So I don't think that's inherently a bad thing. But this was the first time where I was like, that is, at least the way it's executed here, this felt like a procedural. It was just like another episode where there's like a bad thing and then the hero stops it. But the hero has no arc or arch. I'm confused now after the last movie we just talked about. Like to some extent, like maybe there's this thing of I don't have powers like Captain America did before me, so I have to kind of like live up to him. But maybe because I don't have powers, I'm somebody you can look up to. But I have an Ant-Man helmet, I have like magic wings, I have all this technology that essentially gives me superpowers. So that's not an arc, and that was really only mentioned in one scene, which was clearly a reshoot where they inserted Bucky.
yeah,
It's a sequel to a movie from 20 years ago, and that really, okay, fine, it's a sequel, but whatever. You don't have to remember what happened, just take it as is. But the closest thing we have to any kind of character arc is Harrison Ford, like trying to reconnect with his daughter, which only works if you watched Hulk back then. But if you didn't, the only setup is like him mumbling into the phone every 20 minutes, like, daughter, remember when we used to walk the cherry blossoms?
Yeah.
The only tension for me in the movie is I wonder if Liv Tyler's actually going to show up. That was like the only thing that kept me in suspense.
Yeah, she showed up on a green screen and they put like that was clearly green screen and they make sure to film her like through a window to cover up that it was like digital maybe.
Anyway, I thought it was great. Like at the end of it.
That's the thing. The best you're gonna get, because I've seen reviews for this, and people are just like, "It was all right." That's all you're gonna get from this is all right.
Well, like, there was nothing. Like if I watched Quantumania, there are parts where I'm like, there's nothing in this movie that makes me, do that. Nothing like particularly annoys me. It's just not a good movie.
Yeah.
And I just look at it and I'm like, I don't know why you released this movie.
Joey C, what did you think about Captain America: Brave New World?
The reviews that you mentioned where they were like, oh, that's all right. That's pretty much how I feel. I do feel like the effects were pretty rough, as they typically have been in the last couple of years. Specifically, like when the shield is flying in between a bunch of enemies.
Yeah.
And like it's bird's eye view. It just looks so fucking bad. Like one fight scene was good. The rest of them were pretty fucking terrible. How do you fuck up a fight scene? I don't fucking know.
The fight scenes were clunky, and Captain America, the movies are specifically known for how good the hand-to-hand scenes are, especially Winter Soldier and Civil War, but these were just very slow-paced. But yeah, what were you saying, Joey?
And filmed like shit. The one like fight scene that I loved was the jet fighting scene. That was fucking sick. The story really reminded me of like your typical spy movie where like the bad guy's going to destroy the world and the good guy has to go against his bosses to go rogue and save the world. So it's nothing special. And I mean, the film itself is pretty forgettable. forgettable. But did I hate it? I don't think so. I think it was like 25 to 30 minutes too long. I feel like after the jet fighting scene,
it's funny because I think it's actually one of the shorter MCU movies, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, I think it's just under 2 hours.
Yeah.
I do feel like they should have fucking did it in an hour and a half because like after the jet fighting scene, I was like, all right, sweet. We're at the end of the movie. I got to piss. Let's rock and roll. And it just dragged on. I feel like they should have went straight from the jet fighting scene to the whole Red Hulk scene. And it should have just gone right into the finale after that. Because that jet fighting scene felt like a fucking finale scene. That dragged on in and of itself. Forgettable. I definitely won't watch it again, but it was all right.
Crystal, I'm assuming you didn't see this one.
Nope.
That's okay.
Smart.
Totally. She asked me about it, and I was like, don't even bother.
I have no interest.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you're right, Gil. They clearly were making this a while. When did they start production on this?
I feel like it was years ago.
Hold on.
I feel like it was done shooting like 2 years ago. And it was originally supposed to come out. Let's see, started shooting March 2023, I think.
Oh, okay. So yeah, early 2023, and it's only coming out like now. That's rough. Because they did have to like shoot everything. Wasn't like Harrison Ford at it like late into this one? I know Giancarlo was definitely at it very late.
Which I don't know why they thought like this will save the movie. Like Giancarlo Esposito like walking around with a gun, and like totally unbelievable that he would at all be an impediment to this like super powerful guy.
So they were doing the Serpent Society, and it looks like from this, Seth Rollins and them, they had like snake themed outfits and whatnot. And they were like, all right, get rid of that. Now it's old man.
I don't know why did they even do that?
I don't know.
I don't think he's a draw anymore. Like I think like this character where he just plays another villain like he did in The Mandalorian. I think it's played out at this point. Like for me, when I see he's in something, it no longer excites me. Instead, I'm like, I don't want to see that. I know exactly what I'm gonna get. I'm sick of it.
I feel bad for Anthony Mackie. Anthony Mackie is good. But the whole time I was watching this show, I was just getting excited for Twisted Metal season 2.
Yeah, Sam. That's all I was thinking about.
Because he's funny. So, like, there are scenes where he's really, really good. He can be funny. And then there are scenes where he's kind of phoning in. Like, he doesn't deliver the comedic stuff that well. And after watching, like, Twisted Metal, I'm like, I know he's funny. And I know he can act. But he's very hit or miss in this movie. And maybe that is a result of, like, oh, they're changing everything last minute. Trying my best here. So, okay, the new Falcon. I don't remember this character from the show. He made no impression on me, which I guess is fine because after watching him in this movie, I'm like, they need to get rid of this character right away. This is one of the worst MCU characters ever. Did he make jokes? Was he jokey on the show? I don't remember that. But by the way, the MCU humor, which is everyone trying to be like Joss Whedon, but they're not as good. This is like the worst offender of it. Like when he kicks those guys' ass and like dances and stuff, I'm like, oh no, no,
he's right behind me, isn't he?
Yeah, it's literally that. Like, and like Deadpool kind of made fun of that. That's the thing. Like, I know that formula worked, but like Joss Whedon was the best of it, and everyone is trying to be like him with the quips, and they've never really pulled it off. Every time he opened his mouth, I just went, oh my god, shut up, you're terrible. You're awful. She was a nothing character. What is her? So she was a former Black Widow, but she works for the president now.
That's it. Nothing more needs to be said.
Yeah, literally, that's it. You fucking got it.
Is she like? I didn't understand why she was like part of this, other than like she's the president's security, but she's not around him like ever. Except for like 1 or 2 scenes.
Yeah, like in the beginning.
There's like, if I remember correctly, doesn't she believes Anthony Mackie's character and like kind of sides with him against the president?
Yeah,
so
well,
like,
at the end,
theory, there's a story there, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, then she's just at the final fight, which by the way, the final fight in the Cherry Blossoms looks okay. And then it cuts to like Anthony Mackie and he's clearly like, by the way, it's all green screen. But then it's a worse green screen. I'm like, oh, that must have been like they changed the outcome of this fight or something. Yeah, there were just too many characters.
And the way he, when he stopped Hulk, like the big like killing blow is that he poked him. They poked him with
he
the
like
corner of his
stabbed
whip.
him.
And I think back to, I think it was Age of Ultron, the second Avengers movie, when Tony Stark had to call in like the Hulkbuster armor, like to stop Hulk. It was near impossible. And that wasn't a great movie, but I thought that was a pretty good scene. And like when Hulk transforms, it is essentially a nuclear level event. There's going to be a lot of civilian casualties. And to stop him, Tony Stark literally needed to call on a special armor. I think it launched from space. Yeah. And here it was like he's poking with the corner of your wing.
Well, they didn't have vibranium. That's the thing.
Oh, you're right. Yes.
I mean, that does raise the stakes where he's not super strong, but like he has so many gadgets and stuff, it kind of doesn't matter.
There was only one scene where I felt like they played into that. I forget. There was a scene early on where I think he didn't have his armor and he had to fight. And I was like, that was solid. Like more of that would have been good. Yeah. But the MCU has definitely painted itself into a corner now where there's so much magic and science that it just feels like anything can happen and can be explained and rationalized. Yeah. Just diminishes everything.
Now I'm more excited to see, after so many like failures, I'm actually excited to see like what happens next. Can they course correct? Because it lasted longer than it had any right to, really. Like the MCU, I'm surprised they even got up to Endgame. They were able to like evolve a little bit, but they got too comfortable. And too carried away. And it's like, can you fix your reputation? Like the fact that like Deadpool and Wolverine is their biggest movie, and it's related to movies they didn't make, and it's just about two dudes hanging out,
and it's spoofing your whole franchise,
and it's spoofing it. Yeah, you know, all their other movies are like, it's about a hero, but it's really about his diverse, multicultural team full of women, and then your biggest hit is just two bros hanging out to beat up a woman, ironically. But yeah, after like Marvel's Quantumania, Thor 4, which me and Crystal talked about. Remember Thor 4?
No.
It made that much of an impression on Crystal.
What was that one?
The one
Love and
with
Thunder.
with the lady Thor. Remember
Christian
Lady
Bale.
Thor and Christian Bale? We literally did a whole episode where we went through every Thor movie, so that's really funny. that sums up
is
modern.
That the one that with what's his face is in it?
Christian Bale.
We just
I know we said, I didn't know if heard the Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, that guy.
There was like a little girl in the movie. And
right? Is that the one? Was that it?
With the girl, yeah.
I don't remember a girl.
So see, that's the modern MCU. They put out
a big
movie.
Hammer.
Yeah, they put out a movie that looks unfinished, because that was Thor 4 was another one where they completely just redid the whole movie. Just changed Russell Crowe. Is that who you're thinking of? He was Zeus. Remember, he danced a little bit, and no one can remember it because they used to have some. I mean, they were mostly products. I'm not going to say they were ever like high art.
Was it the one?
Yes, Chris Pratt was in it. Yeah,
I remember the Chris Pratt part.
And they just put out garbage.
Honestly, I just remember him.
Yeah. That pretty much sums it up. They have to course correct. This is a mess right now. Or they could just like stop making a movie. That'll be
stop.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay, we got enough.
The fun thing
really
is, so like the course correction that they announced, again, like this was already filmed by the time they made that announcement.
Yeah.
So I think technically the first post course correction thing we're going to see is Fantastic Four. I don't know if Thunderbolt's when that started. And I feel like Fantastic Four,
I feel like they were being developed around like the same time, though.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Really? Okay,
was
so
it
we have to
early?
wait for...
Yeah, because they might have been filming those while they were refilming this. So maybe that isn't the case.
Yeah,
Although I saw that they took off a bunch of shows they had planned, apparently. There were some shows they had in development.
Armor Wars.
Oh, thank God they cut that.
Okoye was getting her own spin-off. There was going to be like a Harry Potter show with Doctor Strange.
Wait, who did you just say?
Okoye? Isn't that her name?
Who's that?
She was like the right hand to the Queen in Wakanda Forever and Black Panther.
Oh, canceled the fuck out of that show.
One where they were like, we're going to cancel this show. And everyone's like, you were going to do that show? Who's in charge here?
Well, that's like, hold on, let me unplug this before it thinks I'm talking to them. That was like the Echo show. Like, I liked Hawkeye, but I'm like, wow, that character really sucks. And then they were like, she's getting her own spin-off show. I'm like, in what fucking world does anyone want a spin-off show for her?
You can tell they are terrified to release Ironheart. They're like, what are we going to do?
Oh, I might actually watch Ironheart. I can't believe they were like, you know who we need to replace Tony Stark. And they were like, oh, so like War Machine. And apparently they turned him into a space alien. So they're like, well, we can't do that. So I know what's going to save all the people who wanted Tony Stark. We got it. Little girl Iron Man. Now go to any of your Five Belows or outlet stores. You will see walls of little girl Iron Man toys that have not sold from the last Black Panther movie. So that show's going to be a disaster. Yeah. I can't wait for it. Oh man. Yeah. So this wasn't good. I hope Anthony Mackie gets maybe one more shot to play the character. But I'd rather just see him in Twisted Metal season 2 instead, where he's actually funny and the action is actually fun. Yeah, this was a huge mess.
Look forward to my update to the MCU timeline in about 4 months, where this will be incorporated, which means I have to watch it again, probably 2 or 3 more times.
By the way, I'm sorry, real quick, the Red Hulk thing. Why was that framed like a mystery?
I have no idea.
If it was
I don't get it. I don't know.
There was no way it was ever going to be a mystery because they would have had to make toys of it because little kids like Hulk and this is a red one. So it should have never been a big... I thought it was going to be something that happened in like the middle of the movie. Then like him and the Hulk would fight some threat that the leader made. And it's like, no, it just led up to that. Like that would have been fine if you didn't advertise it and you like hid all of it. But like it's literally on the poster when you walk into the theater.
It was
so when
them,
it's like a surprise, it's like, yeah, I already know.
They were like, we need to get people in the theater. There's no interest in this. And they were acting like showing people Red Hulk will be like, that's the thing. But I don't think that's true to the general public. I think there are some comic book fans who are like, finally, Red Hulk. But I think the average consumer isn't excited by Hulk and like, wait for it. He's red.
Especially after
I don't think and I think history has proven me correct already because it didn't work.
Especially after She-Hulk, which had the real Hulk in it and no one cared. So they were like, well, we don't really care about regular Hulk anymore. What made you think we cared about elderly Harrison Ford Hulk? That was the thing in the comics, though. I think when he was established, like, you didn't know it was Thunderbolt Ross for a while. Also, he had some kind of heat power. I don't know much about Red Hulk. I wasn't really reading Marvel around that time. So he has some kind of heat power to him. I don't know. The leader sucked. I'm a big Hulk guy, so the fact that like we're finally getting more Hulk stuff and it's being put into non-Hulk things is really upsetting me. And that's Universal, by the way. Universal still owns like the solo Hulk rights, and they're apparently just ridiculous to work with, which is why they never tried with him again. So that's why he's always just showing up in things. So yeah, the leader was a big letdown. I don't know why they redesigned him. Like, I mean, I guess we would have to see what it would have looked like on film. Maybe it did look ridiculous, but it's a guy with a fucking big head. How is it going to look anything other than ridiculous?
Yeah. Maybe if you wore a hat, that could have helped. Like a big Abraham Lincoln
gallon hat. Yeah.
But the fact that they
CGI a hat into the movie.
The fact that they were like, yeah, this will be it. I'm like, what? That looks terrible. It doesn't look anything like the leader. He's not even green.
Well, and it's like they do the thing where the villain's supposed to be always 10 steps ahead, but you never see it play out. It's just him saying like, I knew that would happen. I'm like, says who?
It's not even that he knew. He's like, I had a guess that would happen. And then like, he's not 10 steps ahead because he literally goes to Captain America. He's like, my plan was supposed to end with the big sea battle and you messed it up. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And like the real like 4D chess thing he did was get General Ross to become the president of the United States. Like that was all done by him to get him to take these pills to become Red Hulk. But all of that happened before the movie. So we're all taking it just like at his word that he's responsible for this.
Yeah. And also the reunion between Thunderbolt Ross and his daughter. Like, if you go back and watch that Incredible Hulk movie, it's not that good. And also, it's Harrison Ford, who that wasn't the same actor from the last time.
So it's not even like anybody had residual like emotional attachment to that story. It's gone.
It's gone.
It would have been gone anyway because it's 17 years later.
Yes. And again, they weren't that memorable in the actual film that they were in. So the fact that they're back, I'm like, who cares? But yeah, that's all I could say about Captain
What
America.
about, wait, this is the post-credit scene I thought was hilarious.
I don't even remember what it was.
All right, so I have spoilers for the post-credit scene, but
I remember now. But yeah, go.
the leader is like, "You think we're the only bad guys? There are other worlds out there, and they're coming." It's like we know. We've had like 7 movies that have told us about the multiverse.
But he doesn't know. Captain America doesn't know, and that's clearly meant to be Kang. But they had to delete that. They had to get rid of their next bad guy. So I think that's why he said they instead of Kang.
But that's the fun of these movies now. I had a similar like enjoyment from the SSU, the Sony Spider-Man universe. I'm just curious to see like how will they screw this up next? Like what horrible decision will they make next? And now like Marvel's in the same boat, and I'm just like, what are they gonna do next? I can't wait to see.